49ers aren't going to the playoffs this year.
Baker Mayfield or Jordan Love?
Anyways, I'm going to move on. Trevor Lawrence.
And yes, I'm putting JSN above Jettis.
Yeah. From the tunnel to the court, to the buzzer and the whistle. Big plays, big swings, every shot, every dribble. First down, slam dunk, we track the whole scramble. Late game pressure, you know the whole handle. Stats in the notebook, heat in the discussion. When the crowd get loud, we cut through the rushing. On your mark, let it go. This is where the big moments show. Back and forth, run it back. Game Break Sports, we on the track. Game Break Sports.
Welcome back to Game Break Sports, everyone, where every play has a story, and that story starts here. I'm here joined with Shep. How you doing today, Shep? Are your thumbs hurting still from defending Aaron Rodgers in the comment section?
Good way, in a good way. I think about 80% of the fan base agree with me, so we're just going to start there. But we'll touch base on that here shortly.
I guess so. Yeah, we got a full episode today. We're going to go over that debate that we had a little bit last week. We're going to talk about the two running backs that got drafted in the first round, Jadarian Price and Jeremiyah Love, who's going to have a better rookie season. We got injury news with Ricky Pearsall, and then we got a little game at the end here. You know, we always got to have a fun debate. But first, we definitely want to go over, this debate that we had last week. It was blowing up in our comment sections, the fact that, what it really was a keep two, pick two between Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers. It ended up just in a debate over who's better, who's had a better career, Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, essentially. Right. But the results of it, as you can see right here, is actually 52% of the people said Brady and Manning is who they kept. 41% said Brady and Rodgers, and only 4% said Brady and Brees. So Shep, it looks like the fan base agrees with you. How do you feel?
That means I know ball, right? You got to finally admit that. That means I finally know ball. Well, no, not finally. I was finally right. Okay. This is the first little debate that Luke and I had that went to the media, and turned out that I was right once again. All right. So we'll start off with, Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a great quarterback. I don't want anybody watching this podcast to think that I hate Drew Brees or that he's just not a great quarterback. He's a Hall of Famer. Speaking, he just made the Hall of Fame, I think, earlier this week. So congratulations to him. But we're talking about A-Rod. We're talking about A-Rod. Did you see all them comments? We had over 100 comments in TikTok. We just started this thing a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Everybody was tuned in. I think now Luke understands why I chose Aaron Rodgers and not Drew Brees.
Here's the thing. The majority of people were saying that it's not even close, and I am just here to still stand on business with that. It is close. If we're being completely honest, the debate between Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers is a debate. It is not a dead giveaway on that, okay? If we're talking about just accolades, we could throw Patrick Mahomes up there over both of these guys, if we're being completely honest. So let's just get that out of the way. If I'm being honest, the true answer probably is what the majority of the people said, which was Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Also based on the accolades and everything. But that Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers conversation, I still think it may be a conversation to be had later down the road. For sure. I will give Aaron Rodgers his flowers too. Obviously, he's a great quarterback. He's going to go down as probably the greatest Packers quarterback that ever played the game.
Probably. He's
the greatest Packers quarterback that ever played.
Okay.
He's the greatest Packers quarterback that ever played. But the people saying that Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT or that Drew Brees is the GOAT, there's a guy with 7 Super Bowl rings to say otherwise. So y'all need to check yourselves on that.
Even as a Colts fan, you had to check that.
Exactly.
I'm going to leave it off here. I'm going to leave it off here. All right. Aaron Rodgers, 4 MVPs. Remind me, how many does Drew have? Because
Drew has none.
I was born in 2000. Oh,
Drew finished second 4 different times. 4 different times.
Okay, that's what I thought. I don't know. I'm kind of still young, so I just wanted to make sure nothing slipped past me. But Drew Brees doesn't even have an MVP, so this isn't even a discussion. Like a lot of people said in the comment section, okay? I'm going to leave it off there.
All right. That sounds good. Well, enough with this debate. I want to focus on the present. When this video gets posted, there's going to be a football game on tonight, baby. It's going to be the Panthers, the Cardinals,
Man.
Hall of Fame game. So obviously the Cardinals, they drafted rookie running back out of Notre Dame, Jeremiyah Love, expected to be one of the rookies of the year. Absolutely. But there was another running back that got picked in the first round, Jadarian Price, also from Notre Dame. So the question I have for you today, Anthony, is who is going to have a better rookie campaign? Is it going to be Jeremiyah Love or is it going to be Jadarian Price?
I think this is pretty easy. You want to know something? Could you name some of the last running backs drafted in the top 10, top 15 within the last 15 years? I'm going to throw a couple out there. Saquon Barkley, okay? Ashton Genty, another great guy. Christian McCaffrey, okay? Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, Bijan Robinson. I'm gonna just throw them names out there. I know those aren't household names. All of them are at this point in their careers. But I have some numbers for you guys. Start here. Leonard Fournette is probably looked at as one of the guys who, didn't have a great career based on where he was drafted. He was drafted number 4 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars back in 2017. His numbers stood at 1,342 total yards. He also had 10 touchdowns. Ezekiel Elliott, the Dallas Cowboy legend, he's the reason the running backs doesn't get paid because he went off his rookie year. He was drafted 4th overall to the Dallas Cowboys, and he had 1,900 total yards and 16 touchdowns. You got anything to say about that? All right, we'll move on.
Obviously, he did great. I don't know how this applies to Love, but
Saquon Barkley, another running back, 3rd overall to the New York Giants, 2,028 yards, 15 touchdowns. What I'm trying to get to you is that all of the running backs drafted within the top 10 picks within the last 15 years are minimum 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. So why wouldn't you take Jeremiyah Love, a guy that, if we're being honest, has a better grade coming out of the draft than Ashton Genty? He's the best back out of the draft since Bijan Robinson, based on how he was graded.
What did Genty do last year?
Genty, he had everybody. He had 1,300 total yards, and he had 10 touchdowns.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get to you.
Do you have any sort of...
the bus? I have this out for the end. The bus, Trent Richardson. I didn't even want to bring him up because this is going to ruin my argument. Trent Richardson from Alabama, drafted 3rd overall to the Cleveland Browns back in 2012. He had 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns his rookie year. What I'm trying to tell you guys, a running back drafted within the top 10 picks, they're going to get a boatload of touches. So at the very least, Jeremiyah Love is going to give you 1,400 total yards and 10 touchdowns this year. Jadarian Price, he was drafted at the end of the first round. Not saying that, that's not good or anything, but what I'm telling you is that they didn't take him early on. So he don't have as much pressure to perform as a Jeremiyah Love. They drafted Jeremiyah Love 4th overall. They're going to expect for him to do well. He's going to get all the touches necessary to do well.
So I'm curious because I don't have the number sitting in front of me right now. I'm very curious as to what other running backs got picked in the first round the years that these guys were drafted, because I do know that running backs drafted in the first round is a rarity a lot of the times. So I don't know if there was situations where another running back was drafted in the first round. I'm sure some of these times there was. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Well, for example, the 2017 draft, Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette were drafted 4 and 8.
And they were both top 10. Okay. I gotcha. And so
So
I totally hear where you're coming from because I do love Jeremiyah Love. I'm actually a little bit of from Indiana. I like IU. I like Notre Dame. I hope both these two teams succeed. Definitely have rooted for them the past few years. Loved watching Jeremiyah Love. I felt a certain way about Jadarian Price, and I'm going to reiterate that this conversation is about who's going to have the best rookie year, not best career. And I personally do believe that it's going to be Jadarian Price. Reason why? First of all, he is a shorter, stockier build. He's got more density in his lower body. He's going to be a power back. He's going to be filling in for Zach Charbonnet, who's going to start the season off on injury, which means he's going to have time in order to set himself as the starting running back in Seattle instead of Arizona. If you're talking about Seattle, you're talking about a place that is going to have a great offensive line. They're going to have a wide receiver that is definitely a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. So not all the pressure is on Jadarian Price. You're going to have a veteran quarterback that's going to really know what to do with the ball. So there's not a lot of pressure on Jadarian Price. He's in a perfect situation to succeed in his rookie season. And I think of the rookie running backs, he's going to be at the top of the board after the season ends. Overall, Jeremiyah Love very well may have a better career. I like his skill set more. I think he's a better back in general. But this rookie season, I got to give it to Price.
I respect that. Do you know the numbers of them two back at Notre Dame? Did
I
you happen
do.
to look at
I
those?
do.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you guys. So just so we can remind you guys how dominant Jeremiyah Love was. Jeremiyah Love had 199 carries at Notre Dame last year. Okay. A 57% increase or 57% more than Jadarian Price had in his campaign last year.
Absolutely. Jadarian Price was a
He
backup running
still
back.
averaged a better yard per carry at
Yeah,
6.9 yards a carry.
he did.
A guy that has 50% more touches still outgained the guy that had the less carries
But when you're
by
playing in
almost a
college,
full yard.
when you're playing in college, that is an advantage though. When you're
I
playing
understand that. But if you know probability, the way math works, typically the more things you take, your numbers will go down. For example, if a guy has, 400 carries in the NFL and a guy has 200 carries, the guy with 200 carries averages might be a lot better because he has a lot less probability to mess up for his averages versus the guy that has the 400 carries. Jeremiyah Love has 70 more carries and still had almost a yard better per carry
because
last
this
year.
was in college. You're not going against professionals in college. I mean, you are, but not an
Sure.
entire team. So
They
when
both
you've
were
got
going against college, and that's what I'm saying.
absolutely, but you're also getting a certain amount of touches. Jadarian Price got, like you just said, he got set. What was it? 80? Is that 86? 86 less attempts than
Yeah.
what Jeremiyah Love got. So against teams that are not great, against unranked teams going against this loaded Notre Dame team, obviously Jeremiyah Love is going to be able to dominate them. He can have one breakaway run for 50 yards, and that's going to pad his stats.
I understand that, but also with 80 more carries, there's a chance that he doesn't break it off, which will lower his yards per carry versus a
Absolutely.
guy like
That's
Jadarian Price who gets in. Also, Jadarian Price gets in after Jeremiyah Love has already beat up the defense. That's a whole nother conversation. Jeremiyah Love is the tone setter. He's the guy that's going to get the first, probably second possession in the game. And then from that point, Jadarian Price gets in because I'm not going to say he's not a great back. He is, but he's never been a starter not even in college. So
and
how can
that's actually even proving my point a little bit more. Jadarian Price is going to get to be a starter. He's going to get to be a starter. He's going to get to do what he did as a backup running back as a starter. He's going to get the attempts that Jeremiyah Love got last year because he's the starter. And there's one other aspect to it as well. Jadarian Price very well may be a punt returner for this Seattle Seahawks team. He had 2 return touchdowns last year. So that's just another aspect to where he could end up having a little bit of a better season. Also, on top of that, he did have 15 total touchdowns in 2025, where Jeremiyah Love did have 21. He had 6 more, but only 6 more touchdowns when it comes to the amount of almost double the amount of attempts that Jadarian Price did. That's not a huge gap there.
I can respect that. Another thing that you brought up was JSN. You know who's going to get the most of the target share there. That's going to be JSN. I think last year he had 170 targets as a receiver. So that's where the ball's going, number one. Numero uno, JSN. Then the rest of the guys. Versus in Arizona, we know who's going to get the ball early and often. That's going to be Jeremiyah Love. Then everybody else can eat.
See, the thing with Arizona that is unsettling to me too, though, is that they obviously have a quarterback situation over there. Jacoby Brissett is trying to get a bigger contract. He just got signed to a 1-year contract this year. They've got Carson Beck trying to fight for that job. I'm not going to talk about Gardner Minshew because he's just meant to be a backup. I love him. He's a great backup and he's a great human being. But they've got a quarterback situation over there, and a situation where quarterbacks are trying to prove themselves, which means they may be trying to throw the ball a little bit more than we would expect them to. Especially when you've got a young guy like Carson Beck trying to earn some reps over there. He's definitely going to make mistakes. Jacoby Brissett, he has an arm on him. He's going to be throwing the ball. And I know Marvin Harrison hasn't looked great in training camp yet, but I do think that he will develop a little bit more this season too. So Jeremiyah Love should be the number one option there, but because of the quarterback situation, I wonder if he actually will be.
We're going to have to wait and see. Jacoby Brissett does throw the football a lot. Speaking of quarterbacks, I know Brock Purdy is not feeling too good right now. It's always something going on with the 49ers. It's either an injury on defense, a star player going down. We saw Ricky Pearsall get surgery this week. That's pretty much going to end his season, his campaign for the 2025-2026 season. So, Luke, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. As a fan, this guy couldn't even play a game yet.
Man, it's heartbreaking. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like Ricky Pearsall just as a person. Obviously, I heard that whole story about him just basically walking on the side of the road, getting shot, coming back from it. Ricky Pearsall's been through a lot, and for him to have surgery because of this nagging PCL injury, it hurts my heart. I think he's a really great wide receiver, but as far as what it means for the 49ers is what I'm concerned, is their wide receiver room is going to look interesting. So Mike Evans has had a quad strain that's been kind of bothering him as well. So he may even miss some time to start the season, depending on if that's lingering or not. They did just sign Deebo Samuel back. They signed DeMarcus Robinson. They've got Jake Tonjes because George Kittle is still recovering from an Achilles injury, so he may not be back right away. It's going to look very interesting for Brock Purdy. I'm huge on this wide receiver they got in the draft. I think it's Dijon Stribling. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that quite right.
Out of Ole Miss, yeah.
Yeah. I'm huge on him. I think he's going to be big, and I think that with this injury happening to Pearsall, with Kittle coming back from an Achilles injury, all these things happening with the 49ers, there's going to have to be players that step up.
Mm-hmm. For sure. First off, like you said, man, this is a terrible time. I feel like training camp is just like, we love it as fans because like you're getting close to football, but then you always get that breaking news banner about somebody's out for the year because of an injury. It just sucks. Like you can't just have a clean training camp ever in the NFL. And it always seems like either a star or a guy getting ready to be a star. So Ricky Pearsall, man, we hoping that you can recover from this. I heard it was something that he was dealing with all last year. He kind of just played it off and just kind of kept playing. And so this surgery will clean up all of that. But Ricky Pearsall was in line to be the number one wide receiver once Mike Evans retired, because we know this isn't going to be like long term. This is a short term thing for Mike Evans. So he was in line to get a lot of the targets. He was going to be able to learn from one of the all-time greats, Mike Evans, as well. How to be a professional. Mike Evans has had 1,000 yards his whole career, basically every season. So it'd have been good to see them two line up with each other. But unfortunately, we're going to have to wait another year for that. So what this means for the 49ers, they're going to go out. They have to go out in the free agency and go get a guy. I know they signed Deebo Samuel, but I think at this point, Deebo Samuel is fit to be like a number 3 at best. He hasn't really separated on his routes in a few years. If I'm being honest, Debo is more known for his physicality really his whole career versus being an actual route runner. Um, Even when Brandon Ayuk was there, he wasn't the number one guy. I would say Brandon Ayuk was the guy that they went to on third down to get open, all of that stuff. So he'll be a good piece, but he can't be a number 2. So they're going to have to go get a guy. I think a guy like Stephon Diggs could fit that team very well. In free agency, he still has a sign. They have a lot of good receivers out on free agency right now. I just think that he could be a guy that could fit in. He's a professional. He's a great route runner on the outside. And he could fit that system that Kyle Shanahan runs. So to me, that's really the only opportunity offensively because we all know Christian McCaffrey or George Kittle is going to get hurt. That's just what it is. The 49ers have a star player get hurt every single year.
And obviously, George Kittle is going to be coming into this season. They're hopeful that he'll be ready for week 1. I don't think that he should be. If there's anything you shouldn't rush, it's an Achilles injury. And I know he wants to. I know he wants to rush and get back on the field, but Christian McCaffrey is healthy right now. Obviously, he's the number 1 option, so they should just be going to him. They've got a really good backup tight end in Jake Tonches. I think he's really good. He could have a really good season if George Kittle is injured for a little bit more of it. But I disagree. I don't think they need to go get a guy. I think that one of 2 things need to happen. Well, I guess there's a couple. There might be one more thing, but Deebo Samuel needs to re-solidify himself as what he was a few years ago, which is it's a 1,000 yard plus receiver. If he could do that, that's the reason why the Commanders got him in the first place, because they wanted to pair Terry McLaurin with somebody like that. And
I got breaking news for you, Luke. Deebo Samuel is not that guy anymore.
he he may not be.
It's over with. It's over with for that. I'm sorry. He's not getting 1,000 yards.
This is his chance to reestablish himself. But also a guy that's very underrated too is DeMarcus Robinson, who was overlooked by both Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams last year on the Rams. He's a good receiver, man. He's a really good receiver. So I don't think he's a number 1 option. I definitely don't think he's a number 1 option. But he's definitely going to be a good supporting piece. So if, George Kittle can come back and he can be the number 1 option, then maybe having a few number 2 options in Deebo Samuel, Bijan Stribling, and DeMarcus Robinson is going to be enough for them, especially when they have one of the best running backs in the league in their backfield.
I know this all but confirms the 49ers aren't going to the playoffs this year.
Whoa, that's wild.
This is what it is. They're clearly the 3rd best team in their division. So that right there puts them behind the 8 ball. Because I got Seattle and the Rams over them. Seattle got better and they're building more chemistry. And the Rams, that goes without saying. They got the best player in the NFL. So
they didn't have Ricky Pearsall for the majority of last season either. What changed so much that they wouldn't make the playoffs? What did they go, 12-5?
NFC got a lot better this year. What did the 49ers do that made them better? They got Mike Evans.
DeMarcus Robinson. They got Mike Evans and they got DeMarcus Robinson. I do think that's an upgrade.
Would you consider Mike Evans more of an upgrade than Brandon Ayuk was before he got injured?
No, but they can't do anything about that. Ayuk doesn't even want to play for that team anymore. And Ayuk didn't play at all last year either. He played 0 snaps.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, how much better did they actually get?
A lot. Because if you got a Mike Evans, they didn't have Ayuk last year. So now they do have Evans. They do have DeMarcus Robinson. They do have a promising rookie in Bijan Stribling. So they have.
So do you think they're better than Seattle or the Rams?
Offense. I'm not saying they're better than Seattle and the Rams, but do I think that there's at least 3 other teams in the NFC that would make the wild card above them? Because I'm talking wild card. I'm not talking about.
It'll be 2 other because they only got 1 division winner.
Yeah. 2 other teams in the NFC. I think they still make the wild card. They may be a 7th seed, but I still think they make the wild card. And
I guess we'll have to wait and see that.
That division's always going to beat up on each other.
They paid a guy like Brock Purdy $53 million.
Brock Purdy's a good quarterback.
That was what?
Brock Purdy is a good quarterback.
You want to talk about mid? There you go, right there. That's the definition of mid. Brock Purdy.
I clearly this is a conversation that we have to have another time when I have all my research ready and everything because Brock Purdy is a good quarterback when he doesn't have a elbow injury directly at the beginning of the season.
Brock Purdy wouldn't be what he is today without Kyle Shanahan.
So, yeah, absolutely. But Kyle Shanahan did
What,
that. Kyle Shanahan made Brock Purdy into a good quarterback. That doesn't mean
what
he's
I'm
not a
telling
good
you,
quarterback.
what I'm telling you is that if you drop Brock Purdy on any team right now outside of the 49ers, he probably wouldn't be a starter.
No, that's not true. Because Kyle Shanahan did not just give him all of this knowledge so that way he could just drop it and be like, nah, never mind. I don't want to be a good quarterback anymore. He learned from Mike Shanahan. That's how it works.
I understand that. Kyle Shanahan can put any quarterback into his system and they're going to perform. Hence, he had Jimmy Garoppolo looking like a top 10 quarterback. What do we think about Jimmy Garoppolo now? Is he even still in the NFL? I haven't heard of him since he
The
left Kyle
reason
Shanahan.
the reason Kyle Shanahan wanted him is because he saw him in New England first, who also develops great quarterbacks. Jimmy
Right.
Garoppolo was a good quarterback over there, not only because of Kyle Shanahan, but because of the fact that he developed so well in New England. Because if you develop somewhere well, you're gonna keep those tendencies when you go to other teams as well.
That's not true. But we
Okay,
can talk about that later on because we got a
I
quarterback
guess.
session coming up anyway.
All right, sounds good. So we had a couple more contracts go down today. Bijan Robinson actually just became the highest paid running back in the NFL. He got 75 million for 3 years. He definitely deserves the money. Zay Flowers got a crazy good contract as well today. The Ravens are paying him $140 million over the next 4 years with
Sheesh.
108 million dollars guaranteed at signing, which is the most that I've
That's
seen from
sick.
anybody. Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine being him, like, here you go, $108 million
I know
right into your bank account. That's sick.
crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's the most of anybody that we've seen since Jay Jetta's got what was it, 88 million? So it's 20 million
Mhm.
higher than Jetta's at signing. So they must really believe in Zay Flowers over there. What are you thinking about it?
I'm happy for Zay. They finally paid a receiver over in Baltimore. You know, they went a lot of years without having a number one guy. He deserves it. He's put up over 1,000 yards multiple seasons already. And this is in a system where Baltimore runs the ball heavy. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, even guys, like even backups over there have gotten a lot of carries as well. So to see a guy like Zay Flowers go in and immediately have great seasons receiving the ball is awesome. Now, let me get to what I actually think about it. Zay Flowers should never, ever be in a conversation with Jettis, Jason, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb. I shouldn't even see him right there. I'm sorry. I love you, Zay, but you ain't those guys, okay? I'm happy you got paid. I'm all for guys getting paid in the NFL because they make so much money off of players, but I can't have him in my top five receivers, average per year.
No, I'm not putting him in my top five either. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't even know if I would put him in my top 10. Like, it would be debatable to get him in the top 10. I think this is a move from the Ravens to say, hey, we're putting our faith in you. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken's come out and he's like, we need to get this guy the ball more because when the ball is in his hands, we are a better team. He came out and said that. So they obviously have big plans for him this year, and they're paying him in order to be a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. So he's got to pretty much put up or shut up on this season if he really
It's gonna be hard to
deserves
live
that
up to
money.
that. Yeah. Because you got to think about it. Drake London just got paid, and I think Drake London maybe even a hair above Zay Flowers, but like 100 execs out of 100 would take Drake London over Zay Flowers. Like that's not a debate. He's in front of guys like CeeDee Lamb, DK Metcalf, which you could argue DK Metcalf, and I'm a Steelers fan. Like, should he have gotten paid that much money? Probably not. But also, they traded for DK Metcalf, so they believed in that. Versus, Zay Flowers is homegrown. You've seen what he could do. I think Zay Flowers I think he'd be better suited as a number two, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's a number one
Wow.
receiver. I could probably give you 15 receivers before I come to Zay Flowers.
Wow. That's crazy. I think I'd have him in my top 15 because I do like his skill set, and I think he's like
Mhm.
going into the season, I would have him in my top 15. Um, yeah, we're just gonna have to see because I haven't seen enough from the Ravens receivers in general to think that I can ever take a Ravens wide receiver as, as one of those top receivers in the NFL. So, but they finally paid one, and we're gonna see this season if, he's worth the money.
Todd Monken actually went to Cleveland. He's their head coach now. So they got a different guy that has to believe in them. If I'm being honest, I think the Ravens are best when they feed the running back. I think last year they started to get back to that. So Zay Flowers, man, I'm happy for you. Like I said, I don't think you're like at the apex of where you got paid at, but then again, I understand how the market works. And if it's your time to get paid, you may not be the best, but you could get paid like it. That's just how the NFL goes because the salary keeps going up. So these guys are getting paid pretty good. So I'm happy for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Other than that, I know Bijan got his money. Now that's a guy that deserves the top pay. This guy has had 1,400 yards in multiple seasons since he's been in the NFL. A guy that's had over 70 receptions. This is a funny little topic we talked about. He had more receptions than pretty much everybody on the Colts. And I actually had to do some
Crazy.
fact checks. He had more receptions than everybody on the Steelers, too.
That's
So
wild.
I know I said that last episode. I probably should have fact checked the Steelers too, but yeah, he's like that.
I
He's
mean,
like that. So
30 less receptions than 100 as a running back. You're going to have a lot more receptions than a lot of receivers in the league, even. So
that's
that
true.
doesn't surprise me at all. There's probably more teams. We got to look up some more teams. That'll be a fun one to come with next time is how many teams did he actually out receive all of the receivers on their team? Because I guarantee it's more than just Indy and Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I
He
guarantee
got
it.
I think his annual was at 22 million, which will make him the highest paid running back, not only by contract and total amount, but average per year, which he totally deserves it. But I'm knowing that a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs is just like, yes, sir. Finally, it's my time to shine because both of those guys have been sitting out because of contract disputes.
Yeah.
So I know they were waiting on each other. I wouldn't be surprised if Jahmyr came in and topped him top Bijan Robinson by maybe a million a year or something like that because they're on that level.
Absolutely. They're very similar level and Jameer has holding out a little bit longer, so of course he's gonna get paid a little bit more because he saw what Bijan
Exactly.
got and said, Detroit, you want me? You have to pay up.
Mhm. I do think that Bijan probably earned it a little bit more just because he was the bell cow back versus Jameer Gibbs to me wasn't a bell cow back. He was more of a running back by committee. Not saying he doesn't deserve the top money, but I think that plays a factor.
Yeah, I
Speaking
guess.
of oh, go ahead, you got it.
I was just gonna say we had this whole debate last week. Honestly, guys, if you haven't checked out the debate last week about Bijan and Jameer Gibbs, go back watch that podcast because that we went into depth. But I'm just saying, Jameer is the number one option this year in Detroit. We're really gonna see what's up between those two guys. Anyway, go on, Shep.
Yeah, speaking of contracts, a guy out in Tampa Bay, the QB, the most important guy on the team, is still looking for a contract. He came out in press conference and said that he's very upset, disappointed that a contract didn't get done this offseason. So, Luke, what's your thoughts on that? Baker Mayfield is still he's going to play. He's already confirmed that he's going to play. He's more motivated than any time in his whole career because he felt like he's earned that money. So I know he asked for around $50 million plus per year. So what's your thoughts on that? Is he someone that deserves to be paid?
See, this is a really tough one for me because the numbers show that he's a guy that deserves to be paid. He's in 2023 and 2024, he threw for over 4,000 yards in both of those seasons. Last season, he did take a little bit of a dive. He had the worst year in his last 3 years at 3,693 passing yards, 26 passing touchdowns, 63.2% completion percentage. 11 interceptions, which could definitely be better as well. But he started the season off as an MVP candidate and then just dipped below that. So he's got the potential to be that guy. But when you look at the records that he's put up with the Buccaneers over the last 2 years or 3 years, he was 9-8 in 2023, 10-7 in 2024, and then 8-9 last season. Those aren't the records that you're going to put up, even if you think that you are a franchise guy and get a contract worthy of that. So it's tough, and I do feel for him because I know that Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, they were all injured for a good chunk of last year. I don't think he had all three of those guys available in a single game last year. Yeah. So it is tough when you got to do that, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that still make it work. So I'm very indifferent about it. But I honestly think that Baker Mayfield plays a little bit better when he's angry. So maybe the Buccaneers are just planning on that. Maybe they're like, you know what? Prove it to us, then we'll pay you or something.
Yeah, that's a bad recipe though, because guys that feel like they're getting like cheated out of their money essentially, it's either one out of two things. They're either going to play very well, end up getting paid, or you guys are going to offer him all of this money. He's not going to accept it because of the way you did him, and he's going to go somewhere else and perform. So we'll see. I think Baker Mayfield is awesome when he's healthy. That's the thing. He's had a little bit of injuries, dinged up. I know he had a shoulder injury maybe last year or 2 years ago. So if he can stay healthy, I think Baker Mayfield at his best is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I'm looking at guys like, well, you got something to say? I'm sorry about that.
It's debatable.
At his best, Baker Mayfield is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
It's debatable. Again, he was in the MVP race going through the first 8 weeks of the season last year.
Exactly.
So at his best,
he's awesome.
Very possibly. But I think it's how you finish a season, and he's never completed an entire season start to finish where I thought he's a top 10 quarterback.
That's debatable. I have a list of guys here who got their money that are making over $50 million a year. We're going to skip Pat. We're going to skip Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar. Those guys go without saying. They deserve their money. But you mean to tell me a guy like Tua Tagovailoa, $53 million a year, and this was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
A guy like Brock Purdy, $53 million a year. Yeah, we just talked about Brock Purdy. So this is what I'm talking about. Everything comes back full circle. Brock Purdy. I'm taking Baker Mayfield over Brock Purdy. He's more talented. Anyways, I'm going to move on. Trevor Lawrence.
He feels a certain way about Trevor Lawrence, that's for sure.
Dog, Trevor Lawrence was completely, I don't even want to say the word. He was terrible for the first 4 years of his career.
What year did Trevor Lawrence get paid?
I think he got paid 2025 year. So not this past offseason. Yeah. Not this past offseason, the one before that. I think he got $55 million.
Where then he took the Jaguars to the playoffs, no?
That wasn't the year. I think he got paid going into that year.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, that doesn't matter. He's been garbage in the NFL. He has not lived up to his number 1 overall pick. Can you agree with that?
I will agree with that. Absolutely. I don't place Trevor Lawrence as a top 10 either.
This guy got paid $55 million. So what I'm trying to tell you is that Baker Mayfield asking for $50+ million that's normal because he's better than the guys that's getting $53-55 million. I got guys like Trevor Lawrence at $55 million, Jordan Love at $55 million, Matt Stafford. We know who he is. He deserves that $55 million. Goff, $53 million. Purdy, $53 million. Hurts, $51 million.
How much is Dak paid?
Dak is getting paid $60 million. And that's the biggest bank robbery of them all.
My God.
I didn't want to go there.
I didn't realize what his contract was, to be completely honest. I was going to say.
He was the highest paid before Pat reconstructed his deal.
Do you think that Baker deserves the money more than Dak?
I think that Dak doesn't deserve 60 million, but Dak deserves 50 plus.
Okay, yeah, because when we're talking about Baker being in the top 10, I'm thinking that there's a lot of guys above him. Like if I'm just listing them off, I'm going Patrick Mahomes. We're going Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We've got I would put Sam Darnold above him. If I'm being
Sam
honest,
Darnold.
I would put
Oh
Sam
my
Darnold
god.
above him. He won a Super Bowl last year too. You've got
The all right,
Matthew
keep going.
Stafford. You've got Dak Prescott. Uh, Jared Goff, even with the Lions, has been absolutely incredible. The accuracy that guy has over in Detroit is phenomenal.
Mhm.
How are you feeling about Drake May after his season last year?
I think potential wise, yes, but he hasn't proved enough to me. He's got to do it again.
Okay, so we got Drake May right there. Yeah, so I'm at 8 already. I know I'm missing some guys that I can't think of off the top of my
Yeah, you
head.
tell me. I said top 10 at his best. I didn't say top five. I said top 10 at his best. Baker Mayfield at his best. Give me him over Brock Purdy. Baker Mayfield at his best. Give me him over Trevor Lawrence.
I could say give me Baker Mayfield over Trevor Lawrence. I would say that. I'm still iffy
What's
about
your
the.
obsession with Brock Purdy?
I don't have an obsession with Brock Purdy. I just think he's a good quarterback. It's like he got injured
He's
1 year and you
system
forgot what he
fed.
can do.
He's system fed.
Doesn't matter if he's putting up the numbers and if he's getting the results
It
from
does
it.
matter because we're doing we're comparing quarterbacks and their abilities. Because if you drop Brock Purdy in Tampa Bay and you dropped Baker Mayfield in San Fran, they're gonna look totally different. They won't even be close.
Oh, speaking of those quarterbacks, I don't even think I mentioned Joe Burrow, so that's at least 9. So best I'm putting Baker Mayfield would be 10. Best case scenario.
Hey, that's top 10, ain't it?
I know for a fact I'm forgetting one. Oh, Baker Mayfield or Jordan Love? Who are you taking of those two?
That's a wash to me.
Oh, but you could put Jordan Love above Baker Mayfield then. Baker Mayfield or Caleb Williams? At Caleb Williams' best, if we're taking Baker at his
Caleb
best or
Williams is
Caleb
the
Williams
most
at his best?
overrated quarterback right now. Caleb Williams is the most overrated quarterback. He has not had a good year in the NFL. How he got the Madden cover, how he got all of this praise because he threw up a deep ball in the playoffs. Great. What did his season look like last year? I didn't look up his numbers. I guarantee you it wasn't better than Baker's.
He's like De'Aaron Fox in the NBA, man. He's just Mr. Clutch sometimes. That's what it is. That's what De'Aaron Fox was 2 years ago. He's not
You're just
one of
going
the
to
best
ignore
players.
everything else?
Sometimes being clutch is all that matters because it gets your team to win.
So how about we stop giving him all the credit and give it to his teammates? That's actually keeping him in the game.
Okay.
That's the problem I got with quarterbacks.
I don't have a problem with that.
Quarterbacks is the only position where you could be absolutely mid and still get paid like a top quarterback.
So that brings it back up to my point from before, though, is that I felt bad for Baker Mayfield because he didn't have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, or Emeka Egbuka healthy, and his running backs even dealt with injuries. But he should be able to turn that into something then, because those guys would be able to make him at his best. No, same thing with Caleb Williams.
What about Caleb Williams? He had all his
guys are the ones that are helping him out. Same thing with Baker Mayfield. If he can't get it done without having his best receivers on the team.
Sure, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
So that's what I'm saying. So if anything, I would say Caleb Williams and Baker Mayfield would also be a wash.
How? Caleb Williams has yet to have a season that Baker Mayfield had at 2024. Hold on, let me read you his numbers.
That's true.
Because I got it right here.
Baker Mayfield's 2024 season was phenomenal. He had 4,500 passing yards. He
and 40 plus touchdowns.
He had a great season. He also had 16
Not to mention,
though. Just
it comes with the territory. He's a gunslinger. He like your guy Peyton Manning. You know, those guys throw a lot of interceptions.
The argument, though, with Aaron Rodgers over Drew Brees and Peyton Manning, though, too, was that he had so many less interceptions. So, like, which is it? Like, what? Like, does it matter for some guys but not for other guys? I am so confused.
No, what I'm trying to tell you is that Caleb Williams and Baker, they're both gunslingers, but Baker Mayfield at this time is better than Caleb Williams. For sure.
Okay.
Now, there was never a point Drew Brees was better than Aaron Rodgers, ever.
Do you think that by the end of Caleb Williams and Baker Mayfield's careers, that Caleb won't have seasons equal, if not better, to Baker's 2024 campaign with the Buccaneers?
I haven't seen it to this point.
No, I'm not saying to this point. I'm saying you've seen his potential. Do you think he
Yeah,
won't
with
have a
his
season that good or maybe better? I could see
no,
Caleb
I don't
Williams
see
with
him
a
throwing 40 plus
4,800. I
touchdowns.
could see Caleb Williams with a 4,800 yard season because he has the
I,
weapons to do so, and he's going to grow
okay.
with this young team.
I see what you're saying. Caleb Williams' potential hasn't showed me 40 plus touchdowns yet. I'm sorry.
All right. I guess we're going to have to see who his running backs end up being, too. Because if he's just dealing the ball to guys like Rome Odunze and Colson Loveland, then he may very well have 40 touchdowns in a season.
We'll see. We'll see. My guy Baker deserves to get paid, bro. If all those guys I listed getting 50 plus million dollars, included Tua, like we
getting
are talking
back to
about
it.
Tua.
Yeah, no, Tua, that's honestly over the Dak one. Tua might be the biggest robbery of all time.
Trevor Lawrence is the biggest robbery.
No, hold up. Tua played so bad. And then they just had to deal with concussions, which I feel bad for him too, because of the concussions issue and everything. He had the potential, and that's why they paid him, because he had the potential. But the dude can't stay healthy. So, I don't know.
Okay, answer this real quick before we move on. Tua's best year versus Trevor Lawrence's best year. Which one you're going with?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, man. I can't even think about it.
I'm gonna tell you Tua, and then we'll look into this later.
I'm pretty sure Trevor Lawrence took the Jaguars to win the division, which Tua's never been able to do that too. So it's going to be hard for me to say Tua over Trevor Lawrence.
He played with Josh Allen.
So
who was the AFC East? My gosh,
I think the year that
that's
Tua
the worst division in the AFC?
They were either the 7th seed or they missed the playoffs that year that Tua had a great year.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have a great quarterback in that division, though. You have it's context to that.
If I remember it correctly, I'm pretty sure it was 2020. And they missed the playoffs by one game because the Colts were the last team into that playoffs. And they had to play the Bills in the first round. I may be wrong. I may be thinking of the wrong season.
We'll fact check it.
We'll figure it out. We'll revisit it another time. Anyway, let's move on. All right, guys. We loved that game last week with the keep 2, cut 2 with the GOAT quarterbacks. So we have another little game. Shep made this wonderful graphic with a few teams that you're seeing right here. I'm going to go through those teams with you right now. We've got Team A, Josh Allen at quarterback, Bijan Robinson running back, JSN and CeeDee Lamb at wide receiver, George Kittle at tight end, Myles Garrett as the defensive end. Team B, we've got Patrick Mahomes, Jahmyr Gibbs, Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown, Trey McBride and T.J. Watt. And Team C, we're looking at Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase and Puka Nacua, Kyle Pitts and Max Crosby. Shep, of these 3 teams, who do you got?
These teams are absolutely loaded. Let's start there. I don't think there's a wrong answer. You can eat with all of these guys, but
there's a wrong answer.
One has the greatest of all time quarterback in the modern era. And I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes. So that was an easy decision for me because I think if you have a guy that you know can deliver when it matters most, that's what separates the men versus the boys. And I got the best quarterback out of all 3.
Nah, you're wrong from the jump there. Calling Patrick Mahomes a better quarterback right now, because I'm basing this off of right now, baby. Calling Patrick Mahomes a better quarterback than Josh Allen, absurd.
Who would you trust in the playoffs, Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes?
I would trust Josh Allen with the supporting cast like
Hold
he
on,
had.
my mic messing up.
What
did you just say?
I would take Josh Allen if he has a supporting cast like what he has right here. For real?
No.
Yes.
You're taking him over Patrick Mahomes?
I'm taking Team A in this situation over Team B. I'm taking Josh Allen as a more talented quarterback than Patrick Mahomes is what I'm taking.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The disrespect to the guy that has 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes has had a better career than Josh Allen, but Josh Allen will get a Super Bowl.
When time is ticking, he's getting old. So if he's gonna get one either
When
this year or
Buffalo
next
starts to
year, he's
help him
probably
out,
done.
they started helping him out this year by getting him DJ Moore. If they could get him some better receivers, then the dude would actually have somebody to throw the ball to. Dalton Kincaid.
Why is there
also
always an excuse with this dude?
Hey, Dalton Kincaid was coming off of injury last year. He's going to be fully healthy this year. You got a DJ Moore as a wide receiver. You got some wide receivers in the draft. I think they're going to be better this year, and I think the Bills are the team that comes out of the AFC this year. But that's not all. If you're pairing a Josh Allen with Bijan Robinson, who's the best running back in the NFL, most consistent at least, I'll say. I know we had that whole conversation about Bijan and Jameer and who's going to have the better season this year, and I think Jameer will have the better season this year. But as far as most consistent, it's Bijan. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's otherwise. So you're pairing him with Bijan Robinson. Then you give him JSN and CD Lamb, who are the 3rd and the 5th best receivers on this list of all 6 of them. And yes, I'm putting JSN above Jettas.
What? Oh my gosh, you're disrespectful.
I'm putting JSN. I think JSN is one of the nastiest route runners in the NFL. Anyway, George Kittle also, I'm going to take over all 3 of the tight ends when he's healthy. It's tough with Trey McBride because that's the thing. Patrick Mahomes loves his tight end, so giving him a guy like Trey McBride, maybe I would take Trey McBride over George Kittle. Because
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
Yes. Myles Garrett is also hands down the best defender of these 3 guys too.
Sure, I can agree with that, but my guy TJ Watt makes plays. If you want to talk about a guy that if the game is close and you need a defensive play, we know who's gonna get that play. It's TJ Watt.
They're back.
TJ Watt is the guy that gonna make the play. You want to talk about a guy that has 36 career forced fumbles. You know what Myles Garrett has? He's still in the low 20s. Okay, I get it. Myles Garrett is a great pass rusher. He's probably the best pass rusher we've seen. Let's start there. But a guy that's going to take over a football game, a guy that has single-handedly won football games for the Steelers, Myles Garrett has not done that. He's playing with the freaking Cleveland Browns, who are not even.
If the Browns could play
trash.
football, he would have done that. Absolutely, they're trash. The only reason they've been relevant is because of Myles Garrett, which further proves my point. He's on the Rams now, so what are we going to see this year? We're going to see Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is going to be much better than TJ Watt this year with the support he's getting from the Rams offense in general. He's going to be off the field more. This dude was playing like 35 minutes a game. And now he's going to get more rest. You know how dangerous he's going to be?
I understand that, and I'm not denying it. Myles Garrett is absolute dog. But what I'm telling you, this is what TJ Watt separates for me. Game-winning plays. He turns the football over more. If you talk to coaches want guys that not only build stats up and, he wrecks football games. He may get you 2.5 sacks, whatever. But TJ Watt will get you that plus a couple forced fumbles. A guy that has a motor that never stops. Another thing that people don't take into consideration, Myles Garrett had nothing to play for in Cleveland. He could just chase sacks all game. He knew they weren't going to win. He didn't have to respect the run. Who cares? We're going to lose anyway. You have to, little things like that, you have to take into consideration. Now, I'm not saying TJ Watt hasn't done that too, but Myles Garrett has had a lot less meaningful games than the Steelers.
All right. I
My guy TJ Watt's
where
the
you're
GOAT.
coming from. Absolutely. I think there's a little bit of bias there because, again, it's the Steelers and you're a Steelers fan. This is like me talking about Tyrese Halliburton, baby. I get it. I understand. You're talking with passion. I love it. Don't get me
exactly.
started. This is a football podcast right now.
Exactly.
We're not talking about Tyrese Halliburton. We're talking about
Let's go
Myles
back to your
Garrett,
statement.
the greatest defensive player in the NFL right now.
As bad as it hurts for me to say this, I would agree. I think he is the baddest guy on the planet right now. But with the current team that I have with this offense, TJ Watt's going to make the play before Myles Garrett does. If I need a turnover, I'm trusting TJ Watt. And that matters to me.
If you need a turnover, but if you need a guy to get to the quarterback, to rush the quarterback, to get the quarterback in an
And TJ
uncomfortable
Watt's still one of the
situation.
best at that. I'm not TJ Watt.
One of the
Let's
best,
not
but
go.
not the best, which is Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, best years, he just broke the record, right? He had 23 sacks.
So it's all going
TJ
down
Watt
this
had
game.
that record too. Is 22 and a half.
Yeah.
So they're not far off. You want to know his second best season? 19 sacks. Has Myles Garrett had 19 sacks before this last year?
I'm not totally sure what his
No.
second best season would be. No, I'm not
He
totally
has
sure.
it. 16. Like my guy TJ Watt, now he does deal with some injuries here and there, but you want to talk about a guy that just wrecks football games, a guy that you have to put an X on during film. TJ Watt is the guy, bro. He's been the best player and the defensive player in the NFL for multiple years. Sure, Myles Garrett, you can have the last few. It's cool. We had it the years before.
All right. I hear you.
Other than that, though, I can't believe you said JSN is JSN, and JSN is not better than Jets.
I'm putting.
How could you say such a thing?
I'm putting JSN over Jets. Absolutely.
Well, at what?
We'll see what happens when he gets a quarterback again. Because I haven't seen him with a quarterback in a full season, so maybe I'm just forgetting or something. But there's certain guys in the NFL that are quarterback proof, and obviously, and I'm not saying JSN is because we haven't seen enough of him yet to see that. But clearly, Justin Jefferson
is
quarterback proof.
What? How? How is he not?
He just put up a weak season last year.
He had over 1,000 yards with J.J. McCarthy, the worst starting quarterback in the NFL.
Absolutely. But look at his previous seasons. I feel like JSN is a better route runner. And I think that he was super efficient with Sam Darnold at quarterback. So right now of this list, I will put Jamar Chase at 1, Puka Nacua at 2, JSN at 3, Jettas at 4, CeeDee Lamb at 5, and AJ Brown at 6.
How can you put JSN above Jettas when Jettas has done this for years? Like, that's blasphemy. Like, it really is.
Is Jettas
this guy hasn't done
on this
it?
List?
No.
Who is?
Jamar Chase.
Is he number 2?
Yes.
He's number 2 over Puka?
Yes. Puka to me isn't the best. Puka to me is just an athlete. Like, he's a good receiver, but he's a guy that you could get the ball in space. He's going to go score. He can make big plays. But if you want a real receiver, not saying he isn't, but a guy that route running, run after catch, the ability to play in the slot, play in the X, play on the outside, the guy that could go do get underneath, catch the ball in traffic. Give me Jettas over Puka. JSN hasn't done it long enough. That's a good question. He got drafted. I think this might be like year 7 for him, 7 or 8.
And this was JSN's second season?
I think third.
Third season?
Yeah.
Let's see what we're saying about JSN after 2 more years. He very well could.
You not realize what Jettas did his rookie year? Jettas' rookie year, he had 1,400 yards.
And I have no idea, actually, what
JSN didn't get close to that his rookie year.
Yeah, I know they weren't. Because they weren't.
AJ Brown to me
is what they are now.
AJ Brown is better than CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah,
AJ Brown is a true X receiver, a guy that, first of all, let's say this: AJ Brown has never been on a team where he wasn't solidified as the best receiver on the team. There was questions this year as to George Pickens being the best team on the Cowboys for multiple weeks. Is that not true?
As the best receiver on the Cowboys?
Yes.
No.
George Pickens was at times better than CeeDee Lamb on the Cowboys.
Yeah.
multiple weeks.
There's only one season to talk about that from, and CeeDee Lamb was dealing with injury.
I understand that, but when they were both healthy during the season, there was weeks that George Pickens was the best receiver on the field. You never felt that way in Philadelphia, ever. AJ Brown was always the best guy where he was at.
When was Pickens better than CeeDee before CeeDee got injured?
Did you not see George Pickens' numbers this year?
I definitely saw his numbers, but again, he was acting as number one wide receiver for a lot of that time.
Even when CeeDee Lamb got back in, let's not
but
talk.
When he
CeeDee
got
Lamb
back,
missed,
he was still
2
dealing
games?
with the injury.
Or
that's what I'm saying.
Two or
Once
how many games
injured,
did he
I
miss?
can't consider it anything after that. He missed 4 to 6 weeks, I think. I forget.
I feel like CeeDee Lamb is really good, but also CeeDee Lamb plays with a guy that's, if not more talented, just as much talented as he is. I love CeeDee Lamb, but if you had to give me a receiver, I'm taking AJ Brown over CeeDee Lamb.
He missed 3 games, but it was a high ankle sprain that was lingering the entire season. And a high ankle sprain when you're as electric as a wide receiver as CeeDee Lamb, that's a big deal. Because you're not able to
put it to you like this. When CeeDee Lamb got out, did you see any drop off from your receiver play from George Pickens?
No.
There you go. That proves my point. Those guys are equal, if not George Pickens being just probably better.
Okay.
AJ Brown has never been in a situation where he was the number 2 guy.
After this season, I may even put AJ Brown below George Pickens. Like, if I'm being honest with you, I don't think AJ Brown, as of right now, because I'm not talking about overall career. I think AJ Brown being the number 1 option with the other options they have in New England this year, and I'm still not completely sold on Drake May, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I don't think he's going to put up numbers better than CeeDee this year. George Pickens and CeeDee may put up better numbers than AJ Brown this year.
No. You got to understand, bro. He played with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not a thrower. Dak Prescott, as bad as he is in the playoffs, he's a thrower to football. He's a great regular season quarterback. That matters.
That's true. I respect
that. He's going to go to a team that Drake May had, 40-plus touchdowns this year? Almost, I think over 4,000 yards passing as well. Mm-hmm. So he's going to get fed the ball. He's going to get put in the right spots.
I think this is a season for Drake May, though, that they're going to rely a little bit more on Henderson and Stevenson now that they've realized what they have in that dual running back combo that they've got. So Brown may have a down year because of that.
I think they proved more in the offseason that they want to put more on Drake May's shoulders. They went out and got Romeo Doubs as well. Mm-hmm. So the thing, you don't go get 2 guys like that if you aren't planning on throwing the ball. I feel like all those guys are great. Like I said, these teams, all 3 of these teams, we didn't even talk about the team that has Jamar Chase on it, like Jamar Chase and Puka.
That's what I was going to bring up. So, is there an argument for them too? Because clearly neither of us picked them, but is there an argument for them?
Yeah, for sure there's an argument. Like Jamar Chase, like I said, they have the best receiver. According to you, they have the top 2 receivers.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I was going to say they have. I think they have the worst defensive player. I think they have the worst tight end. I love Jonathan Taylor, obviously, as a Colts fan, but I think they have the worst running back on this list as well. And I think they have the worst quarterback. So all they have working for them is that they have the top 2 receivers on their team. For me, at least. Yeah. Obviously, you don't even have Puka as the number 2. You have him probably at number 3, number 4.
If I had to rate my receivers, I would go Jamar Chase, Jettis, Puka. Then I would go JSN.
So you're doing JSN over CD and AJ still?
Yeah, I got JSN over CD and AJ, but I got AJ above CD.
Gotcha. The real drop-off is just how valuable you see Jettas. And again, maybe I am just forgetting how good Jettas is because I haven't seen him play to the ability that I know he can play in a while. But after the season that JSN just put up, which he at the end of the season, he was getting talk about even being MVP with the numbers he was putting up. It's It's hard not to go with JSN right now.
JSN plays with a great team, bro. Jettas ain't never had a team like
Which
that.
goes all the way back to what I was telling you about Jadarian Price. This was wonderful.
Gosh, here we go again. Hey, definitely let us know who you guys think. I can see a lot of people choosing Team C. They're loaded too. Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs,
I could
so
definitely see it. Yeah.
We could be one off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me, I think that we didn't even speak much about tight ends. I think Trey McBride is the best tight end in the game right now. He's a guy. I think he had over 115 catches last year. I know they played on a bad team, so he got a lot of garbage time receptions and stuff like that. But to me, he's like the most talented receiving tight end in the NFL. Still, George Kittle
I
to
can
me
agree
is
with
just
that.
injury prone.
Kittle is probably the most reliable, I will say, when he's not injured. But yeah, the fact that you said he's injury prone, I'm taking this list based off of players not being injured, essentially.
Okay.
Which is why I would say it's a tough debate between Kittle and McBride, but McBride has such a bright future ahead of him. And if he can get himself out of Arizona, or if Arizona could just get a quarterback to give Love and McBride some help, it'll definitely be an even better career than what he's been able to do. But
Patrick Mahomes is clearly the best player on all positions and this whole list.
all
Can
right,
you agree with that?
has had the best career so far, yes. But I like Josh Allen better.
If you're in the playoffs, Luke, and you had to choose a quarterback between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, who are you choosing?
Do you want me
I,
to lie or do you want me to make you
don't give me
mad?
all this if, and it doesn't matter if who the heck's on the team. If you had Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, who are you choosing in the playoffs?
Death laser pointed at the earth. Give me Iguodala.
Oh my God, dude.
No, this sounds like a great place to stop because I'm going to do some research and we're definitely going to have this debate again between the Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes conversation. It's a good debate to have. I wouldn't mind having it maybe later in the season after we see a few weeks of them play. So we'll just have to see when we come back to this, but we're definitely coming back to it. Thank you guys for joining us for my God. Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of the Game Break Podcast. We really appreciate it. We love the amount of support we got on the last one in the comment sections of our TikTok and everything as well too with these debates. Make sure you go to the TikTok as well. There's going to be another poll up for the debate that we just had with these 3 teams. So make sure that you comment on that. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of traction on that as well because this is an even tighter race than the last one was too. So anything else you want to add, Shep, before we take off for the night?
Nothing too crazy. Again, just reiterating, man, we appreciate everybody that joined in through the comment section with the Go quarterback, keep 2 cut 2. So we want to kind of repeat that with this 3-team ultimate team edition type thing. So appreciate you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, man. We got a lot of great content coming out, so we want to make sure you guys are first to see it. And then also give us a follow on TikTok and Instagram because we're out there too.
Absolutely. Make sure you like and subscribe. You guys can see the socials all right here posted. And also leave a comment on anything you do want us to maybe talk about or debate because I am, open to talk about everything. So, all right. Well, we will see you guys next Thursday. Like always. Peace.
Game